This traveling doggo has dragged his tail down to sunny California to attend Further Confusion this January. Located in San Jose, this con has been around the furry fandom for a long time now, celebrating their 25th anniversary this year. So let's dive into this furry convention, breaking down the entirety of the con and what fun things to expect from this long-standing weekend event. Further Confusion, also known as FurCon or just FC, is an annual convention celebrating the anthropomorphic genre or furry fandom that takes place in the Bay Area of California each January. So this con has never left the Bay Area, with its humble beginnings starting in 1999 with an attendance of just 691 individuals. Now, it was the first event sponsored by the Anthropomorphic Arts and Education Incorporated and continues to be its largest. Now, as FC grew over the years, it made some notable contributions, which included in hosting the original Critter Olympics, a variety of team-based and individual competitive games played while in full or partial costumes, with token prizes often awarded in the past. Now, fun fact, it has been called at times the Critter Olympics. However, such use is frowned upon by the IOC and is actually technically illegal in the United States, per the 36 U.S. Code of 220506. Now, secondly, FC sported its own in-house television station, FCTV, with past staffers such as Samantha Patterson and Kiteless Dragon, that broadcast during the convention. Now, I haven't been able to verify that FCTV is still around anymore based on the research I found, though they do use the platform Twitch for streaming parts of their convention today. And also, Further Confusion has been known as one of the largest art shows of any convention in the fandom, with sales routinely exceeding $50,000, with one piece alone, Eyes of the Night by female artist Golden Wolf, going for the fandom record amount of $10,000 at Further Confusion 2004. This is the highest selling piece of any furry media within the furry fandom to date. Now, fast forward to this year's Further Confusion, held on January 11th through 15th of 2024. The theme was Pixelated, marking its 25th con anniversary. Now, ran by the chair Ellie Jackalope and vice chair Wolfie, this year's FC totaled 5,276 attendees, making it the 5th largest in-person con to date. Now, I really enjoyed the theme of this year and thought it was a good choice for the con. Walking around the con spaces, you could see cool pixelated and retro artwork and homages to well-loved retro games like Super Mario Bros. And the map idea, where you could take a low-quality pixelated picture of yourself and place it on the map where you currently live, was an innovative touch. Also, they had a huge cardboard Tetris blocks to play with, which I am so surprised it lasted till the end of the weekend. All this and more could be found in the Con Space Lounge in the Convention Center. You decided to attend Further Confusion, but it's your first time there, or maybe even your first ever furry convention. So what do you expect when traveling down to the con? For those that are traveling by air, you're in luck, for San Jose has its own airport, the Norman E. Moneta San Jose International Airport, or SJC for short. This is the closest of 3 Bay Area airports to the convention and is served by a large number of airlines. Being only 10 minutes away from the main hotels, you can easily have a friend pick you up or hitch a ride on an inexpensive ride with Uber or Lyft. Unfortunately, there is no shuttle services available. If you cannot find a flight to SJC, you may have luck with the San Francisco International Airport or the Oakland International Airport. These airports are both approximately 45 minutes to an hour from the convention by car and slightly longer via public transit. Now, if you choose to take the train as your method of transport, the nearest Amtrak station to the convention is the San Jose Diridon Station. This station is a major transport hub, with many options available to get from there to the convention center. For those wishing to continue on public transit, there are VTA light rails and bus lines between Diridon and the San Jose Convention Center. Now, for those that are taking a trek by car, the San Jose Convention Center is near several major freeways, including the 101, 280, 87, and 880. And the in-hotel parking overall can be, very expensive though, ranging from $25 to $50 per night, with no in-and-out privileges depending on which hotel you are staying at. But don't fret, because there are many parking options that exist in downtown San Jose. Just visit parksj.org for more information and lot rates. Moving to the accommodations and layout for the con, let's talk about the unique hotel situation, in that there are two main hotels for further confusion: the San Jose Marriott and the San Jose Hilton, both which are connected on each end of the San Jose McHenry Convention Center. Now, on the FC website, they have a hotel list marked number 1 through number 7 with a map showing you in detail the location of all the con-rated hotels, so you can map out which one you want to stay at and what navigating through the area will look like overall. I personally have only stayed at the Marriott Hotel with minimal complaints, though I will note this year they were doing some construction, which I wasn't informed prior to booking, nor when I was checking into my hotel room. So I got woken up by a jackhammer at 7:45 a.m. in the morning on Friday, which didn't stop until the afternoon. Now, I'm not a morning doggo, so it really made my sleep suck, but thankfully, the heavy construction was only going on until Friday. Now, the reason for the construction is that they were renovating each floor, which it is due for upgrades. And I did get a newly renovated room, which was really nice. The king rooms have a nicer spread out space with little seating area and a really nice bathroom with a big shower. And the double rooms do take up a little extra space due to the beds, but also the room orientation. So it's just something I want you to note if you're staying in one of these rooms. Now, one thing I will note is that the temperature regulation really wasn't that good in the hotel. Like, I put it down to like 63 in the room and it felt like it was 70. Now, that wasn't uncomfortable and I did sleep well. It's just something that should be working properly, especially with all these new renovations that they're doing. Now, the Hilton is a good hotel as well, with the rooms are quite nice with decent amount of space. But I don't really have anything negative to say about the rooms. Any room I went to with friends to hang out felt nice, so, you can't really go wrong with the Marriott or the Hilton in my opinion. And the suites at both hotels are a good size and can accommodate a decently sized room party. Now, since there are two mains, I want to talk briefly on some of the noted amenity differences and how it relates to the con itself as well. So starting with the elevators. The Marriott elevators take a bit longer to go up and down compared to the Hilton, though they were constantly regulated by the hotel and con staff, so I felt they handled it quite well throughout the con week. And the Hilton elevators were also poorly regulated by staff, though they have like a newer interface that separates people based on the room you want to go up to. So it's a quicker and better organized system. However, there was an instance where my friends of mine got stuck in an elevator at the Hilton on Sunday for almost an hour, and it caused the fire department to be called. It wasn't anything that they personally did, and I'm glad everyone got out safely. The Marriott has a Starbucks with basic options at the corner market kitchen, but nothing quite substantial, especially on the food front. The Hilton has a better food and bar option at their hotel with an open seating area and a better market. So if you really like a setup like that at a hotel, then it will serve you better. Now, the Marriott has the party floor for the con, which is on the 4th floor of the hotel. So if you want to be on the party floor or quick access to that area, then I suggest you stay at this hotel. Otherwise, both hotels lack any stellar amenities on any front, which is kind of a downer, though I wouldn't rate it high on my list of con hotels I've stayed at in the past, which I will go into more detail later in the video. So outside the main hotels, there is the Westin San Jose and the Hyatt Place San Jose, which are super close and conveniently located to the convention center, making them great viable choices if you want to be as close as you can to the con and didn't get in the main. Now, the layout being that there are two main hotels make for a somewhat unique experience. There is a long walkway in the San Jose Convention Center that attaches these two hotels, with almost all the con spaces, events, and activities going on in the center of it. In the middle of the convention center, there is a big outside entrance lounge area where you can fursuit, hang out on the steps with friends, and eat some of the street food that rocks up to the event. Though this is weather permitting, since there is no outside covering. Inside, there is a smaller gathering place with minimal seating on both sides near the stairs where everyone hangs, especially the suitors. That is one of the bigger congregating spaces outside the con space area lounges, which is adjacent to the space on the lower level, accessible from inside and outside the hotel. The walk between both hotels via the convention center isn't a far walk, and it's all indoors, so you don't have to worry about any of the weather conditions outside if staying at either hotel. I wanted to also note that FC still shares the convention center with the volleyball event, so you will see families and young kids around, but mostly on their own personal and separate spaces from us. When speaking of food and drinks at the con, unfortunately, this con will not win any rewards on either front, especially when comparing them to other furry cons. Also, the hotels themselves don't offer anything stellar either, which I will talk in depth. So at the Marriott, you've got a corner market kitchen, which sells hella basic stuff and Starbucks coffee. Also, there's the Colbray and Clay and Coastal Manor sit-down restaurants, which I am saying with a question mark, because I haven't heard of anyone going to them during the con. Now, moving on to the Hilton, they do have the Market, which does have way more options that are better than the Marriott, with a wide range of drinks, snacks, and sandwiches. Also, beer, wine, and ice cream. Though they have a bar area with a lobby for drinks, which seem nice and accommodating, and they do have a staff member who stands up front serving expensive quick food options to con-goers like chicken tenders and fries and burgers. They also have a Seco bar and lounge, but again, I'm going to say with a question mark because I haven't heard of any con-goers hitting that up either. Now, overall, you must put your walking shoes on if you want to get some decent food, unless you make Uber Eats your best friend. Now, not a far distance down the road, about a 5-minute walk up San Carlos Street, you have several restaurants, food trucks, and quicker food options, which are quite tasty, like Mexican and Italian, and a pizza, steak, Vietnamese, and more. There are also a couple food trucks that rock up to the con on the outside lounge area of the convention center for additional food options. Now, booze-wise though, you're out of luck, unless you either get a friend to pick some stuff on the way, or you take an Uber to one of the local Targets that are about approximately 10 to 15 minutes from the main hotel. I personally did go to the Target to get my needs, including snacks and hydration-based drinks. The reason I think that's the best option is because California lets you also buy beer and hard liquor in these places, so there is a good variety, and the Uber ride itself round trip wasn't really too bad. Otherwise, there is like an odd liquor store and convenience store here and there, a good walking distance from the con. But man, I mean this, I really do miss that Safeway that used to be next to the con. It was so convenient. Now we get to the events and programming at FC. Though covering this topic will be a little bit different from some of my past cons in that I was working as a vendor for part of the convention. So my experience will orbit around that obligation, which I will talk about shortly. But before that, I want to start things off with the registration and accessibility station at the con, which helps its con goers and allows admittance to all con spaces and events. These were both done exceptionally well, period. I got my badge so quickly. I can't remember being in line for more than like 5 minutes, and a lot of my friends had a similar experience. Also, the location was easily accessible, and the spot, which is on the first floor in the center of the convention center, along with the accessibility station. Now, why I wanted to actually give a shout out to the accessibility was because it was one of the few times I saw like an actual station out in the clear view dedicated to helping those with more needs. Again, it was just fully visible and very, very easy to get to, being right next to the registration tables. So great work, everyone, and the layout. So, to begin talking about the night market, we first have to acknowledge the magnitude of how popular this event is at the con. To give you some insight, there were 3,640 furries attending this event, which is 70% of the total con attendance. So it is safe to say that this speaks volume and that it's an event that con-goers want. So what is the night market at FC, you ask? Well, it is a consensual 18+ adult theme event. And how FC explains it is an event where you can unleash your inner pup, parade as a pony, wear any type of gear, or come donning a more adult version of your fursuit. There are vendors that will be on hand to sell their adult-only wares above table, and there will also be DJ live sets, dancing, entertainment, and a cash bar. This is a safe space to have fun and to let your creative adult side out. But don't get us wrong, this is not a play party, of course, so pause off. Also, no video photography is allowed at the event either. The night market to me was a blast, and I had the pleasure of helping the vendors there. 30 vendors in total, so you could find so many products and artwork that suit your tastes. Everyone was super nice, and it was a pleasure getting to meet everyone from the vendors to the customers. The DJs were throwing down some beats that really kept that energy on a high, and the dance floor was bussin'. Also, the energy overall of the night market was electrifying, so I suggest you check this event out in the future if you can. But the only downside I heard was that some con goers mentioned that it's only on Saturday night, so they either wanted a 2-night or maybe consider moving it to Friday. But these are all just subjective takes. Also, that we need an even bigger space since it did get a bit tight to walk around at times. However, I will emphasize that they made many changes this year, from a bigger room and more vendors to a slightly better line management, which went well. And the line was huge. Like, let me tell you, it went all the way out through both parts of the hotel. Now, FC overall did a great job and moving in the right direction with this event, in my opinion. Also, side note, great work on having early pickup wristbands ahead of the event for those, like myself, that want to save some time in line. This was a big one this year for attendees at FC, with a lot of fursuiters, 1,768 in total attending the event. What I will point out that made it a bit special is that it was openly accessible to non-con goers, both locals and hotel guests. So you can get a good mix of furs and non-con goers enjoying the inviting energy and awesome fursuits. After the Fursuit Parade, you can see some non-con goers running up to the open convention space in the center area, wanting pics and saying hey to all the fursuiters. So it was good vibes throughout the parade and after for all to enjoy. Fun and also cute note is that someone brought their big pet bunny named Alex in a stroller to the parade. So I got a chance to say hey to this cute bun, and the fursuiters just loved him. Now, like most cons, it was an overall good space with furry artists and businesses from all around the fandom coming together to sell their wares. I found some lit vendor setups that I was just in awe over, for they really drew you in, and they were so innovative. And what was interesting is that the dealers was split between 2 rooms or wings. So you might take a second to realize this, because when initially I walked in, I was like, there doesn't seem to be a lot of vendors this year. And then I was like, oh. Overall, there was nothing insane about these spaces other than great products and wares to purchase. So I hope all the vendors did very well this year. Me and my friends definitely walked out with our lighter wallets. A side note, to the dealers and vendors that are also interested in selling at this con, you need to file a per seller's permit per the requirements for the California State Board of Equalization and must be 18 years or older. No exceptions will be made. Again, as a lover of dancing, FC had some great competitors this year for both events. And what I love about covering these events is how much the talent has grown over the years. So I encourage anyone that loves to dance to give it a try. And I personally want to give a shout out to the very beautiful and talented Aoi. Now, why do you ask? Because she won both events. Woo! A feat within itself based on the level of talent this year. So super congrats to you, Aoi. Very well deserved, and we all love watching you hit the stage. In regard to the DJ dances and party floor, I'm going to talk about these both together, since they covered the vast amount of the activity during the night. Now, the DJ dances were at times mid, to be honest, and I am not saying this because of the DJs. I just felt that the overall setup and vibe of the space didn't really live up to that of other cons, with the graphics, displays, and lighting at their disposal being, decent. So you would be dancing, but not fully immersed in the hype. Now, I know that every con has their budget and resources and setup at their disposal, so I just suggest that this con maybe allocate some more of these resources to the DJ dances. But now the party floor, now that was one of the highlights for many of the attendees. There wasn't a dull moment on the 4th floor party space at the Marriott, full of thought out, well-themed parties and events in many of the rooms. It was like a rotating club where you could choose your own adventure or take a tour of them all. And with the outside patios being opened, it allowed for airflow and even more space to hang, so you could get some fresh air while vibing to many DJs playing in each theme party room. And as in Marriott fashion, every year at this con, the party floor was covered in plastic wrap in the hallways to protect the flooring in the spaces. Now, it makes sense, of course. It's just really funny seeing it when you arrive. So in conclusion, outside these events, you have your choice of panels and meetups throughout the weekend, if that is something you personally enjoy as a congoer. If I were to summarize FC as a whole, I would start off saying that it's a good con if you love to party or like theme-based room events. I say this because there is a lot of that going on from noon to night. So with that in mind, a good suggestion would be to know someone or go with a group to this con due to the heavier lean on the room side, having lots of those events both private and public. But with that being said, there is still a good bit to do outside the room events and parties at the con. The con has a variety of events and things to do, but without being chaotic. So it's really easy to find someone, where other cons it can be nearly impossible. So if you're looking for a slightly slower paced lax con, or if you're like a first-time con goer, then this is one of the cons I would recommend to you. In the end, FC generally goes through ebbs and waves. In my experience of being super bussin' to being a little bit more chilled, but in the end, a fun time all around with a good party game. And that is my experience and rundown of FC 2024 in San Jose, California. If you have attended this Furry Con, I would love to know your experience this year and in the past, so don't forget to comment below. And speaking of not forgetting, if you haven't already, slam that like and subscribe button to keep up to date with all future videos and supporting this orange doggo. Till next time, stay awesome.